Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today, welcome back a special guest from Enjin, and that is Australian team member Simon. So, how are you, Simon?
Really good, thank you. How
Very
you
good.
doing?
I think it's been nearly a year or so since we first caught up, and Enjin has been very busy. There's a lot happening in the Ethereum world. I think gaming tokens and non-fungibles have all really taken off, and now with COVID, we've got a lot of people at home and more people playing games. And you guys have got some big things on the horizon with Minecraft, which we're going to get to in a second. So, do you want to maybe give us the brief overview of everything that Enjin's been up to in the past 12 months since we spoke?
Yeah, wow, it's been a crazy 12 months actually. I'm not sure if last time we spoke, had the Engine platform actually launched where anybody, any user, any game player, any game developer can go on and just mint tokens using the
I
graphical
don't think so. I
interface.
think that was just happening. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. So basically, right now, like anyone, and it's so easy to use that literally, a 12-year-old could jump on there and create some blockchain assets, like just using the web interface. Essentially, you just punch in the token name, the description, some images, and then suddenly they have a blockchain assets that's usable in the Engine wallet. And then integrating into games is obviously, you need to be a bit of a developer to do that. But the big exciting thing is the Minecraft integration, Engine Craft, because it's super easy to use. And like Minecraft players are kind of really used to installing plugins, integrating functionality, and then customizing it in really interesting ways. So it's going to be really cool to see what people come up with.
I guess for those people that haven't followed Engine or didn't watch our interview last time, I think we've probably grown or at least doubled since our last interview in terms of our subscriber count. So, what's the brief overview for Engine, the gaming aspect, and my favorite part is the in-game assets. So, in these games, you can create swords and characters and different assets, but it's minted with these Engine tokens, and then you can sell them, and there becomes marketplaces. So, do you want to give people the overview of, I guess, what Engine are trying to do?
Yeah, sure. So Engine as a company has existed for about 9 years. It was invented by Maxim and VTech, which are who are really they're very visionary platform creators. The Engine platform grew to about 20 million users based on the fact that they really knew how to create network effects. For example, they already have a Minecraft plugin called Donation Craft, and you can search it. It's on the Bucket forums, and you can see that it's had over 5 million downloads so far. So really, what they've always done is create tools for adopters. And in these cases, the adopters were Minecraft server owners, they were game developers, they were gaming guilds, and they used Engine's technology to create payment methods into their games and their servers and all of this kind of thing. So they've taken a lot of this experience and brought it to the blockchain kind of thinking. So they were really inspired by Ethereum and how it would allow people to truly own their assets forever, and no one could take those assets away from them. And that was a really meaningful thing in gaming, because when you spend like 100 hours playing a game and then you just suddenly leave that game, or you have to leave all of your assets behind and they no longer exist for you. So adding these assets to the blockchain means that they not only exist forever, but they exist in your blockchain wallet, your Ethereum
Yeah.
wallet forever. And that's really powerful, especially when you start integrating them into multiple games, where you can start taking them from game to game everywhere you go. And obviously, the other thing that's really interesting about blockchain is that every piece of supply is completely provable. So if you create a token that's 26 million supply like Bitcoin, that is provable, and that gives it inherent market value based on the supply and demand dynamics of any economy. And this is really the key to creating real economies in the digital space. And Bitcoin is the proof of it. If Bitcoin was in a centralized server, it'd be
Mm.
worthless. And this is the same concept as all of these gaming items and all of these currencies as well. So Engine is an ecosystem that allows game developers and other kind of adopters to integrate this kind of technology into whatever platform you choose. It could be games, it could be apps, it could be Minecraft servers, it can be Telegram, Discord, Twitch, and that's what we're
Yeah,
working to do.
fantastic. I think for the audience at home, I've been trying to get their minds around this concept of becoming your own bank and having all your tokens or wealth on a hardware wallet or your computer. And once
Yeah.
you do that, you can have your Bitcoin or your stable coins or your gold tokens, for example, and you're becoming your own bank. And this is the next, I guess, evolution where you'll be doing your shopping online or, buying tokens and paying for games or buying items, but it'll all just be on your Ethereum wallet or your MetaMask built into your browser or built into your gaming console. And I think we were joking last time about as a kid growing up when you have to leave the Nintendo on to save your progress, or your computer dies and you lose all your game saved files and whatnot. So it's the same thing, I guess, in the gaming world, where people want to have their own items. They don't want to risk losing them. We've seen companies in the past maybe create an item that was fetching a high price, and they go, oh, well, we'll create another 1,000 of those, and everyone's paying a high price for those. And then you lose that scarcity. So I guess blockchain is going to really change all that. And it's the metaverse angle, which I love. I think we dived into this last time as well, about how assets can exist in different universes, and the mind can really go down that rabbit hole. But the metaverse is something that you're working on now, where one asset can go into all these different games. So do you want to maybe talk about that for people that haven't heard that concept before?
Yeah, definitely. There's kind of two concepts at play here that Enjin's really at the forefront of. One is the metaverse, which is basically the ability to create a digital life. So it's a digital life it's like a digital layer of life that exists on top of the layer of our existing life. So that can exist in games and everything. Like, you see it in Ready Player One, where everyone is living this digital life, and it's really important. But I think the big thing that games are missing to actually take it there is having a proper economy that's in touch with the real world. And you see this in Ready Player One as well, where this metaverse called the Oasis, your actions in there can actually make you rich in real life, and you can lose your house if you make the wrong move. And obviously we don't want to take it that way, but we do want the digital world to mean something in our real lives.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for people at home, Ready Player One is a movie. You should definitely check it out if you haven't already. Yeah.
It's a great movie. Yeah, it really opens the mind to, I think, where we're eventually going, no matter what, no matter who does it. It's just someone's going to do it first, and someone's going to do it hopefully in a decentralized way, where all of the problems that happen in the movie aren't really possible. Yes. Because should we spoil it? Like, in the movie, there's this one guy that creates the metaverse, and obviously that central point of failure becomes the whole dynamic of issues that then take place in that world. Where in this decentralized world that we're living in, if a lot of people are controlling that, then there's not one central point of failure, and it's obviously a lot of risk for us all. So.
I think I interrupted your train of thought, but you were talking us through, I guess, the metaverse and the best parts of it, and maybe into what you're specifically doing.
Yeah, so basically the idea that Enjin can really bring economy to the metaverse is what I'm working on personally as a second project that's actually as an Enjin adopter. So we're working on a project called My Metaverse, which is basically a blockchain games network, and our plan is to integrate as many different games into this My Metaverse as possible. So right now we're working on My Meta Minecraft. Next we're going to be working on My Meta Core, which is another really good game building tool, and then My Meta Roblox is kind of on the cards. But what we're definitely going to be doing is My Meta Telegram, because everyone loves Telegram, and I believe that we need to integrate really good economies into Telegram. My Meta Discord and My Meta Twitch are definitely on the cards, and then also kind of have this technology integrating into WordPress as well. So the idea is that you're going to be able to create a store in your Minecraft. You're going to be able to buy some real estate in Minecraft, create a store on there, sell Ethereum tokens, and not necessarily the ones that we create. You can create your own. You could create some nugget tokens, and you could sell it through your own store in My Meta Minecraft. And then you could also create a My Meta Discord or My Meta Telegram, and those items would appear on those stores as well. And if someone buys it from one store, it takes it from the rest. So it's really turning into this interconnected system of value that can relate to our real lives in a really tangible way. And then another thing that you started to mention was another concept called the multiverse, which in theoretical physics is the ability to move through multiple dimensions that are all like different in really interesting ways, but the same. So that's kind of getting reflected in the gaming world. We have the gaming multiverse, where you can have a character that's living one life in one world, and then he's living a completely different life in another world. And in that other world, like, unicorns can be elephants, and elephants can be skyscrapers, and strange things can happen. So there's all of these different theoretical concepts that are kind of being tied together within the Enjin ecosystem.
Yeah. I don't want to confuse people. If you are not a gamer, a lot of this might be going over your head a little bit, but I think the best way to think about it is the APIs or the plugins are like little add-ons or updates, and you can have that in a game that you are playing on your computer at home or your console, and then you might have the same upgrade in your Telegram app, like Simon was saying, or your web interface, or another, I guess, Sims is another example of a game where you can go in and be living a life. But now with these blockchain assets and this metaverse, where all these games are living in parallel universes with the same character. So you could have your same character actually go into that Sims game if you were playing another game altogether, or you could have that personality go into the Telegram chat, or to join, maybe Nugget's crypto group. You can join if we add a plugin for that on Facebook. All these things become possible because of the metaverse and that ownership of these different assets.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a really a kind of tangible standpoint, we're just creating literally APIs and plugins that you can put into as many different platforms, apps, and games as possible, and then you can start to trade your blockchain assets on those platforms. So it gives a persistent value to the blockchain assets that you create.
So you've already got that Minecraft plugin. Is this, I think we were talking last time about how we don't just create games and get people to play them because they're on a blockchain. We have to give people things that are better and cooler than what they've had before. And I think that ownership is that missing piece of the puzzle. So are you very hopeful? Have you done any trials? I'm just trying to think of these guys that don't have the crypto background or don't know that things are on a blockchain. Have they started to say, yeah, this is pretty cool. I can update this, or I can sell this on a marketplace, take it into another game. And are you hopeful that this could very easily lead to millions of users, players, all using sort of Enjin items without even really knowing it?
Yeah, this is a big point of experimentation for a lot of game developers, and it's a really important thing to think about. The way that we're doing it with my metaverse is that that we're not putting the barriers to entry in front of the metaverse per se. So you can jump into the Minecraft server and you can just start playing, and without even having to use the blockchain aspect. But then you have this next level of functionality that can only be achieved through blockchain integration, where you start trading things peer to peer, you start selling things for Enjin coin, or you start buying things for Enjin coin. You start wanting to list you want to create a token store on your Minecraft server, which then appears in your Telegram channel or in your Discord channel or on your Twitch channel. These kind of really next level features are only possible with blockchain, and that's the graduation that you'll have to take the next step and basically do a little bit of learning. We obviously we're slowly making that learning process easier and easier. And if you have a look at the Enjin wallet, you can see how easier that is, and it is getting easier and easier. And then my metaverse, we're also creating things to be as seamless as possible as well, and doing native integrations wherever possible. So you can literally be jumping into Minecraft and receiving blockchain assets without even creating a wallet yet. It's just you then have to send it to your blockchain wallet to truly own it. And that way, everything is just really fluid, but you still have the benefits of having the supply, the provable supply on the blockchain there, just by looking at a Ethereum Explorer.
Yeah, the Enjin wallet, I forgot about that. That is another good mobile wallet. I'm not sure if there's a desktop version as well, Simon, or there is?
Not yet, no. But that is definitely something that's been requested a lot, and I do think that it's something that's needed. But there's a few things that are really obviously going to be a priority first, which is some of the stuff we talked about, like the scaling solutions and all of that. So.
Yeah, no, a good mobile wallet just to check out multi-coins, and you can keep your tokens in there and other assets, which is very cool, which a lot of other crypto wallets don't allow. The next train of thought I had was, I've lost it now, Simon. I did want to ask you about the players and owning their assets themselves and being able to trade it. I've lost it. I've lost it. That doesn't happen very often, Simon. You've boggled me. We're going
Gotcha.
down the metaverse.
I frazzled you with all the metaverse and multiverse talk.
Ah,
Sorry,
you
man.
did. Yeah, the tokenomics is something that we often look at with different projects, and I think the Enjin minting using all those Enjin tokens is something that's going to hopefully give that token and that network more value. So, what else is the ENJ token used for in terms of incorporating that, or hopefully giving it more utility and value going forward?
Yeah, the tokenomics of Enjin Coin is incredible, to be honest with you. I've never seen anything like it. The core use case of Enjin Coin is not actually as a currency, even though it does get used as a currency a lot. The core use case of Enjin Coin is as a minting material. So you can think of it like a commodity, like steel or gold, where you use it to create things. When those things are created, that commodity gets locked inside those things, and then the commodity Enjin Coin becomes rarer. Where steel and gold are arguably limitless. We don't know the supply limits of those. Where Enjin Coin, the supply limit is 1 billion. I think we're up to 10 million of it minted, locked away inside assets currently. Have to double check that, but yeah, essentially it just means that it's taken away from the marketplace. It's put into digital assets. When these digital assets get passed to players and users, those users then hold these digital assets and the Enjin Coin inside it, which means that Enjin Coin as a coin by itself has about 30,000 hodlers. Digital assets that contain Enjin Coin, we're up to like over 100,000 hodlers there. So there's these two different layers of Enjin Coin kind of adoption that's really, really good for the ecosystem.
Sure. Now that question has come back to me, which is great. It was going to eat away at me all day if I didn't think of what I wanted to ask you. One of the things I think we might have touched on this last time as well is that friction to onboard users, and you've just spoken about that in terms of they can dive into the game and start playing without having to sign up to a wallet. And a lot of other Ethereum dApps or a lot of blockchains need you to at least have a wallet or an add-in sort of installed. Now, some projects have got to the point where they can let players play and get items and even buy and do transactions without having Ethereum in that wallet to pay for gas, which is very exciting. That is going to change things. So in the past few weeks, I've spoken to Go that are very close, or they've got their beta of their plasma technology, which does thousands of transactions a second. We had Synthetics come out with their optimistic rollups, which is thousands of transactions a second, and Gods Unchained with their card game that's doing thousands of card swaps and transactions a second. They've just put out a public release, I think it's called Immutable X, for other people to use. So the point I'm getting to is that Ethereum has solved a lot of these scaling issues before we've moved to ETH 2.0 or done sharding and these other technologies. So that must be fantastic for you guys. I think you said you're working on something similar for players to not have to pay Ethereum, to sign up and to start trading items, but to be able to do thousands of assets per second. We don't want people trying to buy an in-game sword and have to wait 30 seconds for something to be confirmed on Ethereum.
Yeah, that'll disrupt the gameplay. Like, gamers are really used to just like running through their world, receiving the sword, and then just slicing things up.
Not zero
away.
latency.
So it's really super. Exactly. Yeah. That's so cool that so many projects are really tackling this problem, and it really speaks to the power of Ethereum. Me as an Ethereum adopter and an Enjin adopter, this is what I look for, because I'm not a blockchain technician, and I don't have the resources to employ those people. So being able to step in and have these problems solved for me allows me to just focus on the end user experience, which is allowing games and everything to integrate my metaverse into them really easily, and then those players are really enjoying that. So I think this is Ethereum's just going from strength to strength, and as far as development goes, I'm just super impressed. Enjin also has Efinity that's being worked on, which is going to be a really seamless experience as well. Essentially, it's going to have native support for the ERC 1155 token. So you mint some tokens, it's on there straight away. You're sending it to and from the Enjin wallet, in and out of your game. And basically, the goal is that there won't be any transaction costs and no latency at all. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of different really good adoption kind of platforms available for people.
So the ERC20 most people have heard of, which is the different varieties of coins and tokens, but then one of the gaming standards, or NFTs, non-fungible tokens, meaning you can't sell half a sword or half a character like you can sell half of a coin. That's the 1155 standard Simon's talking about. And I believe, again, this might be too technical, but I believe once you go down that path, you can start to separate things like the color of the item doesn't have to be on the blockchain. So we can have sort of, I think, the metadata that might be in their Minecraft or in the computer software not having to be on the blockchain. So all these things are problems that's very interesting for me to, from the outside, look in and sort of watch these pieces come together. And I just think that the whole application of Ethereum and then the Enjin coin and then real world games like Minecraft, I think that sort of demonstrates the power of Ethereum from start to finish. It's really cool.
Big time, yeah. And once the Enjin Craft plugin launches over the next couple of weeks, I believe, or days, I don't want to.
Not sure when this will. Not sure when this will be up. But,
maybe it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's already launched. When that launches is going to be really interesting because, as we said before, Minecraft players are really used to just plugging in plugins and seeing what they can do with it. So, but yeah, a really interesting point is the difference between ERC20 and ERC721 and ERC1155. And even though I'm not that technical, I'm really well versed in this because as someone that's creating experiences, I have to think about how these affect the end user. So ERC20, as you said, it's just you can have a stack of it and then you can split it up into little pieces. ERC721, you only have one of each one, and it's completely unique and it has its own identity within it. ERC 1155 is more like a vending machine, so where you can just have this vending machine smart contract, and this one smart contract can just spit out limitless fungible tokens equivalent to ERC20 tokens. So you can have you can spit out 10 like that are even more powerful than actually the technology behind Enjin coin and other ERC20. So you can spit out all of those with your one smart contract. You can then do the same with ERC721. So ERC721, it's like having a whole vending machine, a whole smart contract for each individual token. It has its own identity, and you've got to put a smart contract alone for that 1721 token. Where ERC 1155, it allows you to put one smart contract down, and then you can spit out hundreds of different fungible token equivalent to ERC20, and then hundreds of thousands of different non-fungible tokens equivalent to ERC721. So that becomes really, really super easy for me as an adopter, because all I have to do is just use this one smart contract, and I can just release all of these different tokens, and then all of these users can just have one wallet and just be receiving one type of token, and it's just right there. And then all of these game developers only have to integrate this one smart contract, and then they're getting all of these fungible tokens, all of these non-fungible tokens. It's super, super important for adoption that we have this really one standardized way to integrate things into different platforms. So yeah, ERC 1155 is really powerful. I think everyone should really have a good look at it.
Wow. Yeah, that's even deeper than what my understanding was just then as well. Other things that are on the roadmap, or have you heard of other applications of the Enjin? I know there's teams all over the world working on separate things, and this metaverse is just something that you're helping to work on. So is there any other projects that you've heard that are very exciting?
Yeah, we Enjin actually recently did a partnership with Chills or Chili's, and that's actually tokenizing kind of awards within the sporting realm. So basically, this means that you can give out things that are provably rare, and then those fans can then own that and then possibly use that in different apps. Like if a sports team wants to release an app and that token has utility within that app, you can give tokens whatever utility you want based on whatever you design into any app or any game. So gaming is one, general rewards is another, and then obviously you can really tokenize anything. But the question is, should you? So Enjin is really a platform that allows you to tokenize anything. The only question becomes like, what is really blockchain useful for in comparison to a centralized database? And yeah, it's definitely useful for gaming and generally rewards and anything that really has the aspects of supply and demand. kind of in the core nature of
Yeah, I
it.
think during the week, is it Spencer Dinwiddie? I think that's his name. I might have mucked it up, but he was talking about NBA players in the future, tokenizing themselves and their assets, their jerseys, their merchandise, for example, to prove that it's not fake. Or tickets to the home
Yeah.
stadium, you might have to buy them with a blockchain address that's registered to an ID or a person, so someone can't scalp or sell fake tickets. So they're the sort of things that are possible. But whether or not you should do that and what happens, I'm not sure if it was Chills that bought the Perth soccer team here in Australia and then they backflipped a month later. It was one. It was one project or company, and they tried to tokenize Perth Glory, and then they backflipped a month later. But yeah, we're still working out what should be tokenized and how you legally sort of get that contract from the real
Yeah.
world into that smart contract world.
Yeah, but yeah, those examples are perfect. Like you could literally tokenize those using the Enjin platform. You could go to cloud.enjin.io right now. You could mint some blockchain jerseys within a few minutes, and then the only question is how do you want to integrate those into an application, and what do you want those to do within the applications? Do you want the app to scan the jersey, match it up with the token, and prove that this person that this jersey is real? Yep, that's absolutely doable. Do you want do you want that app to give someone a special character in a game that could be like LeBron James because you have his token that's provable? Yes, that's absolutely possible. And then we can just spiral down that rabbit hole forever. Like there's just infinite things that once you have this thing of value, how you can apply that value into different games, into social media, into different applications it's so limitless, it's ridiculous, and that's why it's such an exciting space to be.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've got everyone's mind boggling a little bit. The final thing we spoke about last time, it might have been in Gaming Week, and I think I asked everyone that question about, do you believe that we're living in this, game, simulator, that sort of thing, and a lot of people gave some interesting answers. So I can't remember if we spoke about that last time or not, but
we did a little bit.
When you think about everything we've described today, it definitely starts to, I guess, open people to the fact that, well, we're already going that way and it's already happening. So it's harder and harder to argue against the fact that we might be living in a simulation already.
Yeah. It seems like it's just a matter of time. The only hope is that simulation's as decentralized as possible, so there's not one central power that can just shut it all down and change our lives.
Yeah, we're not all just on the Chinese CCP blockchain at the moment. Anything like that. There's a new Matrix movie coming out. I think it's this time next year. So that is going to be more relevant than ever, I think. Like living in this age and everything we've just touched on, plugging in and living a digital life in the Matrix. I think that's probably going to incorporate a lot of crypto themes. Yeah.
For sure, yeah, that's so good. I can't wait. That was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie as well. So that's all the points I had, I think, Simon. Is there anything else that's happening in the Ethereum space or Enjin space, gaming in general, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I just want to say that if you're a developer and you are interested in really utilizing real world supply and demand economics within whatever ecosystem that you're building, you should definitely have a look at cloud.enjin.io. There are some really good SDKs there that make it super easy to integrate Ethereum. Depending on what platform you're using, there's an SDK software development kit for Unity. There's one for Godot now, and then EngineCraft is launching soon. And like you can literally have your blockchain assets working in Minecraft within 3 minutes. It's crazy. There's a Java SDK. There's so much coming. So just check it out and come have a chat with us. Let us know your ideas. Let us all brainstorm together about how we can utilize blockchain to create a more rewarding digital space.
I feel like I'm shilling Ethereum a lot, but it's just, I guess, the fact that it has these SDKs, so software development kits, and these programming integrations, plugins. It's just, it is really leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of the other protocols.
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy to just create something that you call a blockchain and have low transactions per second. but it's not easy to create all of this entire ecosystem of development, this layer upon layer, this technology stack that's been growing for all of these years. We haven't seen. There's nothing even close to that. As someone that's building, as someone that's trying to make it, someone that can't afford to build it all myself. I couldn't do it anywhere else but Ethereum. So I think that's a really important thing. And it's a good community too. Like, it's a really supportive, positive community, and yeah, I just think it's a really great space.
And a lot more smart people working on ETH in Australia than I'd ever realised until I started to meet some of these people like yourself and go to a few conferences and that. So we'll definitely have to catch up again in future, Simon. Good luck with it all, and I'm sure plenty of you guys in the audience are probably going to end up playing some Minecraft with the Enjin plugin. So let us know how that goes, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.